Okay, so as you see here, the Catholics versus the Protestants Bible says that the Catholic Bibles contain Old Testament books not found in the Protestants Bible, and as such, Catholics are sometimes asked to explain the discrepancies. In this short essay, we will briefly cover the difference between the Catholic and the Protestant Bibles and the reasons behind those differences. The books in question. Okay, so these are the Catholic books have seen 7 books. And so that is not compiled of all the other books. So I want to say, if we go back to if we go back over here, you can see how many books, because they only have 7. So Maccabees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So these are the books that, which if you go into the King James 1611, version, you'll see it, but it's not in the books, but you can buy it this way if you choose to. So when you go back to where we were here, you see the Catholics only have 7 of those books. Okay, so why? They got more than what the King James got. So I want to say the Catholics have like 73 books altogether. So it says here that, but how did these books find their way into the Catholic Bible, and why do the Protestants dispute them? To answer these questions, we will look at the Bible from the time of Christ through the period of Reformation. So the Catholics and the Protestants and the Orthodox churches all recognize the same 27 books that make up the New Testament. Note that the King James Bible had the Apocryphal books in the back of the Old Testament until the early 19th century. They have since been omitted, but King James Version Bibles were with the Apocryphal books can still be purchased. So it still can, as I stated. And then a little bit more here when it tells about the Old Testament as the time of Christ. And at the time of Christ, there was no consensus on a canon of scriptures. Instead, there were competing Jewish communities with different lists of books they regarded as inspired. So, at the end of the day, when you open up the Holy Bible, King James Version, the Bible is about, I want to say 80% speaking about, in the Old Testament, about the Israelites. And I don't even want to say just the Old Testament. I'm just saying the whole Bible is about 80-something% talking about the Israelites. And then that other 20 is towards, all other things. But we're still mentioned as the Israelites in the New Testament of the Bible. But it just doesn't, add up or make any sense. When you really look at this closely, brothers and sisters, why would the Almighty allow the Roman Catholics, which are paganism, to be the root, or they wanted to be the center and had been through the paganism of the churches of so much the Israelites are part of these churches to this day. But they did not open it up for where Yeshua spoke and said that he came for the lost sheep of Israel. Of course, it's open up to the whole world as we know it. Accordingly, when the Gospels went forth, where Paul, which was Shaul or Saul, said, his encounter with Yeshua on his way going to Damascus. Okay, so I'm just going to scan down here a little bit. I'll share this link and you're welcome to look at this even further, but it goes to about 6 different thing here. So I'm going to go here to Matthew's 10. And it says, and when he had called his 12 disciples, he gave them the power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manners of disease. Now, the name of the 12 apostles are these. So he, with it being named, of course, we don't see Paul name included in these 12 apostles, but he said due to his encounter on the way going to Damascus of him, being a person who was out to kill anyone who believed on Yeshua, and of course that, he had a problem with them. So I'm just going to go down a little bit more further here. These 12 Yeshua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Some people want to say the lost sheep of the house of Israel is the whole world. Well, we know that is not the case. He's speaking to the Israelites. We know what Jacob name was changed to Israel, and knowing that it was 2 parts, was the northern tribe, the southern tribe was the tribe of, Judah was the house of Israel. We know that from, if you read from Genesis all the way through, as far as the Old Testament's going into the New, you know what it means when it says this, but the world want to say, no. He meant to go out to the whole entire world. He just said, go not into the way of the Gentiles and into any cities of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils, freely ye have received, freely give. Provide neither gold nor silver nor brass in your purses. So it ain't about giving them anything. It's about, bringing them to this understanding of them being healed and delivered. And into whatsoever city or town ye shall enter, inquire who in it is worthy, and there abide till you go thence. And there abide until you go thence. And when ye come into an house, salute it. And if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it be not worthy, let your peace return to you. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when ye depart out of the house or city, shake off the dust of your feet. Now this is Yeshua speaking. This is Yeshua telling them directly what to do and how to go forth. So when people read this and they read that, oh no, it came for the whole world. Oh no, what Paul said accordingly is that he was out to take the gospel, but in the hands of where the Romans got it and what they did to it, along with the brothers of the Flavians and the family of the Alexanders, and also the what is called is Herod's. It's just, a contradiction there. But no, we good as a family. We're saying, we're the Israelites. We're saying that, Yeshua's going to come back in the second Exodus. We're saying that we will be gathered. But these people who have taken the Bible, the word that is before our eyes, and have added to it. And I'm going to go down a little bit further. And I'm not saying for certain, you all, because I'm not trying to have you walk away from your faith. I'm just saying that the Almighty is saying to us, we need to dig deeper. He got us to a place to know that we are the Israelites. He could have chose to do it the other way and show us what truth was, put here in this Bible, what truth not. If anyone tampered with it in the beginning, he could have done all of that, but that's not the way he did it in my life. He may have done it in yours and you had a good place. But for those who are not, if you're here with me and you're at a place where you got questions and you feel like your questions, need to be answered, you need to seek the Almighty. I get that. And I understand that. And this is where we would need to go. Because we have been written as the so-called blacks, so-called Negroes, so-called African American out of history forever, for as long as you can go back and recall. Once they left from the promised land, they were written out of history. Our forefathers were written out of history. So we did all what we did to the Almighty. We went against his covenant. We were disobedient. We were stiff-necks. And we think that we're going to get it to a place like, okay, whenever this, shift on this earth comes, we supposed to be standing because we awoke. But we know he giving us a chance to get it right. He giving us a chance to understand this truth, to seek him even further. Also it says in verse 15, verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city where you have to shake off your dust off of your feet, who don't receive or hear the words. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogue. And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. And when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in the same hour what ye shall speak. Happened to me many times. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. It says here that and the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father, the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated for all men for my name's sake. But he that endureth to the end shall be saved. But when they persecute you in this city, flee you into another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. Ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel, which is where? Till the Son of Man be come. Most people want to say, oh, all over the world. Is it with the cities where the Israelites at? The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he be his master and the servant as his Lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? Fear them not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known, that we not to fear them not. Therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed. We in this moment right now, and hid that shall not be known. We need to seek him for it. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and what ye hear in the air, that preach ye upon the housetops. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear them which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. We need to fear the Almighty. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without the Father? But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Every hair on our heads are numbered. He know every hair. Fear ye not, therefore, ye are of more value than my sparrows. Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father, which is in heaven. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father, which is in heaven. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came to send the peace, but a sword. So some people take that as vengeance or a wrath, but the sword is the word that I'm getting. For I come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. So I want to pause there with the cross. I believe Yeshua was hung on a tree like this day still our Hebrew brothers and sisters being hung on a tree. I don't believe he was nailed to a cross. But like I said, that's what I believe. That's what I believe. Then it goes here to say, he that findeth his life shall lose it. He that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. He that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. And he that receiveth a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whosoever shall give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of cold water only in the name of a disciple, verily I say unto you, he shall in no wise lose his reward. Okay, family. So I just read from Matthew's 10. It was from the first verse all the way to the 42nd verse. So in a nutshell, family, it's time to go deeper. It's time to seek the Almighty and, for us to understand of all, because they have twisted, they have flipped, they have, shift things around. And you might say, well, I don't need to know all that. All I need to know that I am an Israelite. I'm going to keep those feast days. I'm going to keep those Sabbath days. I'm going to, do all that I know to do reference to the law and, as far as keeping the commandments. But far as the word that we quote from, we read from, and knowing that there are people who have stolen our identity in this day and time, have stolen Yeshua's identity, and actually ones who wanted to be God, like the Almighty. And they hold all in their hands. And we have to get to a place and say, well, why would the Almighty allow this to happen? Well, judgment have came to us. We have been cursed. We have been set aside as people, but set aside also of curses that we have to work ourselves out of this area of all these deceptions and lies. It's just not going to fall in our laps. And when the Almighty is using you, share it. And then he will lead ones to you to get whatever is needed. I'm not going to sit here and say, I know everything. I'm not going to sit here and say, everything that I know and everything I'm saying, is accordingly, as far as the breakdowns. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm doing as I'm led to do, but I'm telling you, as I have said before, I'm on a quest to know the truth. They have just lied to us so much until I get certain areas in the Bible and I have to stop and say, hold up, wait a minute. Precept to precept, line upon line. This ain't adding up. Where's the other precept to this? Okay, this precept to this is what? We know if you've read the Bible and accordingly, just like if you've seen a movie before and they may change the actors or the actress in the movie, but it's the same storyline, you're going to go back and say, wait a minute, I've seen this before, but they're not the same people. It's deeper, family. Whoever have arrived to a place where you feel like you beyond what I'm speaking of, blessings to you. Do as the Almighty is leading you to bring forth anything that you need to share with his people. But if you're not even here yet, if you right where I'm at right now, where I'm on this quest and seeking him, by all means, let's pray and fast and seek to understand this truth even further. Because if the case, showing that the slave Bibles took out 90% of the Old Testament, okay, then it took out 50% of the New Testament, okay, and then now we say we got all the 66 books, but we still know that there's at least another 100 books that are not inside the Bible that is still missing that we should have access to. But then we see the Catholics and the Protestant church, they have different books in their Bibles. There's more to it, family. Because whatever's going to surface and hit, we don't want to be shaken. We want to be able to stand. We can know that we Israelites all day long, and that's great and that's awesome. But if what we have, been studying and what we've been learning, we still a part of the paganism type of format, then really we still in sin. Because when Yeshua said he came for the lost sheep of Israel, and it shifted. And one say, well, I know the moment it shifted. I can go to the scripture and say, well, this is when they rejected Yeshua. It went to forth in that. But if you have studied up on the people who took our book in their hands and they did what they wanted to do to our book and made it to where now we got which is called a Holy Bible in front of us with 66 books, but we know there are missing books. And the ones who, enslaved us and invaded our, they got more books than we got of a day-to-day book, even though you can buy the Apocrypha within the New Testament, which we see is 15 books. I mean, within the Holy Bible of King James. But I'm just here to say is more. The Almighty not leading me to say anything else. It's time. We have been shifted. That's all I have, family. Love you all. I know our redemption is near. But he wants us to seek him even further because it's deeper than what we thought or ever could imagine. Blessings, family. Shalom.